This is the Muddy Boots Podcast, a podcast for those who have been or are stuck in the mud. Building a community of those who are with each other all the way. Well, welcome to the Muddy Boots Podcast. I'm your host, Matt, and this is your other host, Roger.
Hi.
And we have a guest with us today for the first time. It's our first guest. This is Demery.
Hi.
She's from the YMCA. We'll explain all of that here in a little bit.
Of course.
You'll notice the setup is a little bit different. I wanted to make sure that our guest had the experience of using the podcast mic.
Fancy mic.
How is it so far?
So far, so good.
You've said like 3 words. So.
I know, but I like microphones.
Okay. And I figured everybody loves to see Roger's face, and so we'd give Roger the second podcast mic.
Thank you.
and I'm personally mic'd up.
I appreciate this.
Yeah. I'm sure you do, yeah. And I'm personally mic'd up with a different mic. One of these days, maybe I'll invest and get a third podcast mic.
That would be really cool. Then we'd look like those people on YouTube or something.
Speaking of investments,
yes.
Do we have a sponsor for our current episodes?
Not yet.
Oh,
not yet. Okay, so
we don't. I mean, we've got people that are paying for it, but we don't have like a corporate sponsor.
Oh, okay. So we're actually looking for
a corporate sponsor.
So if you're watching this,
yeah,
and you are part of a corporation that would love to sponsor a group of episodes or whatever, you can email us and let us know. What's a good email address to email that to?
Our button at ymcacw.org.
Okay. We'll put it at the bottom of the screen to make it easy for people.
Nice.
That sounds like a plan.
Yeah. So we talked about this on the last episode, but we've got a couple more, I guess, names to throw in the hat as far as, what we call our
followers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Muddy Buddies, in my opinion, is the front runner.
I like Muddy Buddies.
Oh, you do now?
Well, compared to some of the others that you gave me, yes.
Well, you can't just do that. You can't just flip it on me.
Why?
Because for 5 episodes now, you've been telling me that Muddy Buddies is not the right one. We need to find a new one.
Okay.
So I almost forced it by having a sweatshirt made to wear today. Yeah. I was going to have it and be like, well, now we're the Muddy Buddies.
Yeah, see?
So your vote would be Muddy Buddies.
I like Muddy Buddies, both, for
But what are the other ones? Maybe I haven't heard a good one yet.
The most recent one on the last episode was Mud Stompers. I know I just read through all of them.
I can see how he feels about that one. Was there Dirty Souls?
Dirty Souls?
Yeah, no.
Spelled S-O-L-E-S.
Yes, yeah. But no.
Okay. No. And then there was another one, possibly. Armor Bearers?
Armor Bearers was one of them, too. Yeah.
I think that I actually said that in the first episode based around
about the scripture.
I said maybe Armor Bearers would be a good one.
It might have been.
And you never made any commentary about that, so.
Lots of times I don't.
Okay, so we're just going to leave it there, just so you know. And we're thankful that you're continuing to watch the podcast. This has been, so far, just an amazing experience. I've had an amazing time with you. And so.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. But it's really cool to have a guest.
It is.
And this is a new experience for us, so we're just going to kind of go with it and see what happens.
It's interesting to come into this dynamic.
I bet it is.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting for me too if I was in your position. So I wouldn't necessarily think that it would be.
What about the flying squirrels?
Oh gosh.
It's not bad, I have to admit, based on episode 4, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which if you haven't seen, you should go back and watch because that's an entertaining episode. If there
was
ever
a squirrely one.
Yeah, it was a squirrely one. So we brought you on. Before we jump into some of the content that we're actually going to be talking about with you, how have you been watching? Obviously, you've been looking at the comments.
Yes. So I have been watching the podcast. I haven't watched it. I like to have podcasts on in the background while I do other things. And since this is budget season, it's been really nice to have like my phone playing it in the background while I'm like elbow deep in spreadsheets and budgets and numbers.
Which goes to show you, I've got a face for radio.
Well, and it also means we're helping people through budget season.
Well,
That's
yes,
correct.
Yes,
Yeah.
we are.
So this is multi-service.
It is.
Yeah.
It's not just to help people with
Whatever
their mental
it takes,
wellness.
we're with you all the way.
That's right.
All the way.
All the
That's
way.
right. So knee deep in budget season. This
Yeah.
has helped you,
Oh,
I guess, navigate through that.
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh, yes, I do.
Oh yeah.
I was one of the OG.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
We all got ours on the same day.
The same day. We did. The three of us got
see?
ours
I
on
had
the
mine
same day.
embellished
She
since
did.
then.
Was there one other that got one on that day, same day, or was it just the three of us?
No, somebody else got another tattoo on the same day.
Oh,
But it was just
On that.
on that day. And then
On that
Greg went back and got it another time.
And some
Danny.
other
Danny got hers.
I know.
And
we got some more scheduled.
right. And then there's,
I think it's kind of cool how it's working.
yeah.
Molly has said when she is
Yeah.
in town and free at the same time.
Understood.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People can get that that tattoo is
Anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's here in town, here in Vancouver. Where
Yeah.
did we get it?
We get it at Black Label Tattoo with Bethany.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, that's not like, it's not the only place, but
Huh.
Bethany is our person.
But she has
Yeah.
the stencil. I mean,
She
she's
does.
got
She's got
like,
the stencils and the different fonts that we've been using. So I know you and I have the same one. And then Roger, you and Danny have the same one.
Right.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I guess jumping off of that,
Yeah.
what does that mean to you when you got that tattoo? What does it mean to you?
So that is really, I mean, if we go back to like when I first came to the YMCA and, to Rhapsody Church and to Washington in general, I moved back home and I was not in a good place. I knew the Lord and I knew that he was with me and he was taking care of me and I could rely on him, but I had no real basis for good mental, emotional health. I was actually quite depressed. I was in a rough place financially. I was trying to make ends meet and really looking for purpose. And looking for, I was a dancer and a performer down in LA. And when I moved back home, my family was great, but like I felt like all the cool things about me I left behind and I had no real purpose or joy in my life other than hanging out with my niece. But that wasn't all the time. So I was kind of just trying to find something to make me feel like a good person and to give me something to do. And that's when I started volunteering with Rhapsody Church and with the YMCA. And that's where I met Roger. And that was when he invited me to come volunteer with him part-time. And then he started paying me for 4 hours a week. And then that's how I got introduced to everyone at the Y. And then they offered me a position working like 30 hours a week. And then I moved into a full-time position and it got me out of food service. So all of the things just kept like lining up to keep moving. And it's still been, it's been 7 years that I've been working with the Y, a little bit 9 years since I've been here in Washington. And who I was then and who I am now is ridiculously different. I know that Roger's been going through a lot. He doesn't always share everything with me, but just to be able to like tell him, like, I'm with you no matter what. Like the way that you were there for me when I was like knee deep in it. I'm not out of the mud. It depends on what hour of the day you talk to me on where I am in that mud. But, just knowing that you're not in it alone is huge. Yeah. Knowing that I have people that, I was in a bad moment an hour ago. And just knowing, like, I had just texted someone to be like, hey, I need to talk for a minute. And then Matt walks into the room as I'm in tears. And he's like, I walked into something. What did I walk into?
It's true.
And it wasn't, oh gosh, what's wrong with Demery now? Right. It was, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Take 5 minutes. Okay. We're okay. and we can get through it. So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff is like, I don't need people to fix what's going on, but like to be able to walk through it with you. So that's why it was no questions asked. Hey, let's get that tattooed. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's so good. So now you're at the Y. What do you do now here at the Y?
My job title is leader of healthy living. So I oversee membership, healthy living, and the facilities departments. And my staff, if you ask them what I do, they say everything. They're like, what are your responsibilities? All of the things. That's my response. All of the things. Yeah.
And based on, our interaction here an hour ago,
it's all of the things.
It's all of the things.
Yeah. Which makes me really, really happy. But my goal is to give other people the confidence and the permission to be leaders at any level, that you don't have to wait for me. And that was where my frustration came from, is you don't have to wait for me. You can do things while I'm not here. I don't have to be the one to do all of the things.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Feel free to interrupt me at any point if you have a question for our guest as well. Roger.
Oh, I will.
Is there anything you'd like to say now, or would you like me to move forward?
No, I totally appreciate her and everything that she does, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. So as the healthy living lead,
My job is to make you uncomfortable.
you've delved into some things that's not working. You've delved into some things that
Just ignore them.
I will. I have been, and I will. Into some different things. We talked about the Suicide Summit,
Yes.
which was Shine a Light. We
Shine
did
the
that.
light. Yep.
That was something that you led.
I would love to say that it was like something that I created, but really, I think the greatest thing that I did was I just kept in relationship with NAMI. So when they had this event going on, I said, oh my gosh, could it please be here? Right? Like that was it. Like I was in a meeting talking about something completely different. And it was a virtual meeting. And one of the guys goes, I saw you like light up when they said that they were going to do it. He goes, you didn't stop moving until you could ask them. It's something, like even our host said, like people are afraid to talk about it until someone talks about it, and then everybody has a story. So I have so many stories in my history of either my own issues with suicide or with people that are close to me attempting it or succeeding, that it has been a big push, especially since the pandemic, that I have wanted people to open this conversation and be more forward about it, because, I mean, just what myself being aware of my tendencies toward that and suicidal ideation, like knowing how I was doing in 2020, I was like, we're not even seeing the start of the effects of that isolation. So it turned out that Kim from NAMI, she said, I'm so glad because I was hoping it was going to be you. So our partnership is really formed, and we were able to provide that for the community. And we've already had a lot of feedback of people that are interested in being a part of it next year and really growing that and making sure that this area has a very open conversation about suicide.
Yeah, and I love it because we all know where I was and why we're doing the Muddy Boots podcast and everything else. And to be able to support that, I think is just amazing. It's part of the best work the Y can be doing right now at this time in this season.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's the issue is only growing as far as the mental illness, people struggling with their mental health.
Right.
So I like I said then, I appreciate that the Y's kind of on the front lines of it in a lot of ways. So last, like 2 episodes ago, we talked about, Roger, you and your diagnosis again, and that the cancer coming back. And so that's obviously close to your heart and your experience.
Yes.
And Demi, the other thing that you're involved in helping lead is
The LiveStrong program. Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that.
The LiveStrong program is it's 12 weeks. And it is for either cancer survivors or thrivers. It doesn't matter if they are currently in treatment, if they've been out for 2 months, 15 years. If they have been affected by cancer personally, it is a fitness program to get them back on track. Chemo and radiation has all kinds of physical effects, right? So who they were before is not who they are after, and they can't do the same things. So it's very well structured and takes into account their treatment, what kind of procedures they've had, what their limitations are. It's getting to know them on a one-on-one basis, also in a group, to work with them to build back their cardiovascular health, their strength, their flexibility, and all the time building relationships of where they have a community of people together doing this with them. So it's working on their physical health, but it's very well structured in it to also be tying it back to their mental and emotional state, to be conscious of all of the effects that we are spirit, mind, and body. And that's built into that program, because you can fix the body through fitness, but what happens if you don't work on the other things that got you, like that are going on in your life? Right?
Yeah. And that's because officially, right, my chemo ended in July of 2020. And they said, okay, you're in remission. We don't see any more cancer. What is it? It's November of 2023.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was basically October was the first time I actually started feeling like I was fairly me again.
Of this year.
Of this year. My wife always, Lori, said, you need to write a book called After Cancer, because everybody says, oh, look, you beat cancer. Yeah. But, oh, my gosh, the things I went through and the things I couldn't do.
Yeah.
Was horrible. I mean, it does. And so this program is amazing. I'm not in it.
You refused.
Yeah.
But
let's just be honest.
I know
you said no.
And like, so Tuesdays I'll come play basketball. Thursdays we have a Bible study here.
Yeah.
Every time I'm here in the early morning,
he's here.
You're here with your duffel bag and you're going up to work out.
Yeah, I try to get here between 6 and 6:30, and I work out for an hour and a half every day. And I'm feeling much better. Boy, when I first started, it was just to get here, right?
Yeah.
Just to get here. Now it's like I've got the habit to where if I'm not here, I feel guilty for not doing it.
Yeah.
And I've got a whole different set of problems. All my old shirts, I can't button them to the top anymore, right? I mean, it's crazy. So, I mean, it's like, and I feel great.
Yeah, and look good.
Well, thank you.
Hey.
You're cute, too.
Thanks. Yeah. Appreciate that.
Yeah. You're beautiful. You're a pretty one.
Thank you.
This
guy was one-upsmanship, right? That's what this is. That's what this has turned into.
Yeah.
So, when you just, kind of coming off of that journey, LiveStrong, even though you're not in the program itself, you're doing a lot of the things that the program promotes. Mm-hmm. Like, what made it click where you're like, this is what I got to do? I know I need, even as hard as it's going to be, I know that this is what I've got to do.
After my last surgery and coming back from that, it was like, I've just got to basically just get in shape, mentally and physically. I mean, it was like this roller coaster of garbage, right? Yeah. And it was hard. But I don't know. You can talk to that.
Well, the correlation between physical activity and your brain chemistry and how you can handle stress. There's books and books and books on it. But I know there are times when I will leave my office to either go walk the track or do a walkthrough of the building, anything like that, because I'm like, I'm not handling this well right now. I need to do something else. So, that's where some of our walks to 7-Eleven come in, or, I've boxing. We used to do that when we first got the Box Masters. We'd keep boxing gloves under our desk, and we're like, hey, do you want to go hit some things?
It helps.
And it helps. It helps relieve that, get all of your chemicals running again in a way that you can actually process things and not tie it to emotion. So that's been helpful. And that is a lot of the feedback that we're getting from the LiveStrong participants. We're in our first cohort. So this is the first time that it's been done in this area.
Yeah.
And we're pretty excited.
And the beauty of community, right? The enemy always wants to say you're in this all on your own.
Right.
Yeah. Nobody else knows what you're going through. You find out that right? Yeah, and so these people are in community. It's kind of like our grief and loss classes and everything else. Next thing you know, you've got this group of people that just stay together.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And it's cool. It's really cool.
Well, Sherry, she's who actually is the instructor that leads the program. She and I were walking down the hall the other day, and we heard voices. We're like, that sounds like one of our LiveStrong members. And we looked in, and it was two of the LiveStrong participants sitting in this room 2 hours after the program ended, because they were just talking and talking and talking. And what we've been hearing from them is, since treatment, they still aren't cleared to go back to work. They can't do this. They're not allowed to do that. They can't do this. And they felt very shut in, especially one of the participants. She said, because of COVID, she couldn't leave her house because she was too immune,
her immune system
wasn't strong, and she couldn't handle it. So she was not allowed to leave her house. We have a lot of members like that. They're like, this is the first time in 3 years that I've gotten to go out and do things. And just to see them for, I think we're in week 7 of the program. So we've got 5 more weeks to go. And the difference of the people who came in a little bit grumpy, a little bit like, you don't know what my problem is. And now they've got their yellow T-shirts and they're pretty excited. They're all meeting up in the lobby to walk upstairs together, doing their workouts.
Nice.
They're giving us feedback. Like, it was really hard to, work with the weight machines when we first started, but I'm seeing how much stronger I am now. So even though it's hard, I'm going to keep coming.
Right. Yeah. And it'll get better.
Yeah.
I know. And that it's just going to get better and better and better. And they'll feel stronger, stronger, stronger. And their lives are going to change.
Yeah.
And it's cool, because that's what we do. We change lives.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Well, and so we were actually approached by Peace Health. They came to us and said, hey, we'll pay for it if you'll do it. So we did the research, the training, all of the things to get this program together. And it did take us a little longer than expected, because there's a lot more hoops to jump through with YUSA and the LiveStrong program, because they want to make sure you have everything together and in a row before you start.
Right.
So Peace Health invited us to come talk to their staff and, do meet and greets to talk more about the program, to get the word out. And the participants are like, can we go? Like, we'd like to tell them about it. And I was like, then why do I need to be there?
You're right.
I was like, I'm not going to be the right person to talk about it. In that case, is to let the nurses, to let the x-ray techs, to let all the people working with the cancer patients know what this program is, so that they can refer their patients here, is going to be great. And I'm excited.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I realized one thing while you were talking, and this was not an intentional choice, but the shirt that I'm wearing is Darth Vader. It's your lack of faith.
Disturbs me.
You got me the shirt. You were part of, I think you're part of the group of people that got me the shirt. That's all.
That's all.
There it is.
Well,
I just thought that was
we also got
fun.
you another shirt, which you haven't worn yet.
I'm waiting for the right time.
It's going to be the right moment.
And maybe I'll wear it on the podcast.
I don't know.
It'd be a fun shirt to wear on the podcast. I won't reveal what it is, Roger,
Yeah.
but it's a
Someday.
good one.
You'll see.
It's a good one.
Okay.
I had no real reason for bringing that up. I mean, there's you have
It's
this
like a squirrel moment,
yeah
right?
You have this.
Is there an owl hanging around here going to eat you now?
Don't you like this phrase too? Don't you?
No, he
have
has a
that
sign
I have
on
the
in
sign
his
my-
office.
See,
I find your
yeah.
lack of faith disturbing. Yes.
So maybe we talk about faith or something. I don't know. Maybe
Who
we don't.
knows?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that what this is about?
Well, it's about helping people
Yeah.
Yeah.
who are stuck in the mud.
They're stuck in the mud.
From
And
people,
cancer can get you stuck in the mud.
Yeah. So how
It can.
have you been doing with maybe with your journey now?
Oh, it's kind of funny with this whole thing is because after the first time you get it, right? The first time you get the diagnosis, it's like, oh
my
my
God.
God.
It's doom
right?
and gloom.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
doom and gloom and everything else. And then, this time I was disappointed I didn't get to ring the bell because for 4 years I
Yeah.
was clean, right? Clean.
Is it 4-year mark? Is that when you do it? Is that when you ring the bell?
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm going in, I get a PET scan,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be clean, I get to ring the bell.
No.
And he sits me down and goes, you lit up. I was disappointed, right? Well, how, why? What? I didn't understand,
Yeah.
and that whole thing. And so I had a day or two of confusion, but then it was like, I got this. I know I'm going to work out through the whole thing. I'll never stop working out. I don't know if they're going to do more chemo. I don't know what they're going to do. But whatever it is, I'm going to keep moving. And, my attitude is I'm here until I'm not.
And you're going to control the things that you can control.
That's it.
That's all you can do.
Yeah, area of influence, scope of control.
Yeah.
What area do I have influence over and what do I have scope of control over? Anything outside of that, I can't do anything about. Why worry about it?
Right.
I'll leave it up to him.
You ever been disappointed?
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, on the minute level and on grand levels,
Yeah.
of course.
What do you do with that yourself? How do you reconcile it? Through your faith, through your community, through your...
It absolutely has to be first filtered through my faith. And that if I'm disappointed and I'm not getting what I want, it has to be for a bigger picture than what I can see. That God has a plan for me, and it's a good plan. And where I'm at and how I'm moving forward is the way to get there. And for whatever reason, whatever I had planned or whatever I wanted was not on that plan. And yes, I can be disappointed, but first I have to put it through that filter. And then I have my community is next. I look around at the good things that are around me, and I try to take comfort in that, that I'm doing what I'm supposed to. I have really great people here. I share with them about my disappointment. I am the queen of sending the weird text that says, I'm not in a good place right now, Roger. I don't need you to call me.
But you'll call anyway,
I said,
right?
I don't need you to call me. I just need you to be aware that I'm in a bad place.
Yeah.
And then I get a call. This is your chaplain call. I'm like, I'm in the middle of something right now. Roger, I told you not to call. But, just not trying to hide it. We, especially like in my department, I have many departments that I oversee, but, trying to set the example of honest vulnerability.
Yeah.
That's what I want from them. And the only reason that they are honest about that with me is because I'm honest first. I want them to tell me if they're having a bad time so I know what to expect from them at work. If they need a day off, let me know. I'll cover for you. When I've been having a bad time, they've told me, stay home, we've got you.
Yeah.
Stay home with your cats.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you. So
No, I think that's beautiful. I think a good thing to note here too would be, we have tons of YMCA members who watch this.
We do.
And the YMCA is for all.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we see through our faith lens, Christianity faith lens. But there's plenty of people who are atheist, agnostic, other religions,
Buddhist,
who watch this.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing to note when it comes to chaplaincy. Maybe you can speak to that.
Yeah.
If you're disappointed and you don't see through the eyes of faith, that doesn't make us separate in any way.
No, and that's the thing is, and that's why with this whole chaplain training piece, right? Is because for so long I've watched people. Well, you're a pastor.
Yeah.
You're a pastor. But you have never had any chaplain training.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And then just because you're a pastor, a YMCA will plop you in and say you're now a chaplain. They might have a 90-minute PowerPoint they'll give you to show,
Right.
whatever. I mean,
Right.
and that's what I say, all radiologists are doctors, but not all doctors are radiologists, right?
Yeah.
You may be a pastor, but you haven't gone the extra mile to become a chaplain.
Yeah.
And so part of that is understanding all the world religions that are out there so you can sit comfortably with somebody whose faith is outside yours and walk through things with them. There's a good quote. It says, I don't want my faith to change you. I want your faith to change you. Mm-hmm. And I want to be there with it.
That's a pretty powerful quote.
Yeah, I'm going to walk through it. I'm here with you all the way.
Right.
Right? But that doesn't mean that you've got to believe exactly what I believe or come over to my side or whatever before I'm going to help you.
Right.
That's not chaplaincy.
Right.
And so often people get that mixed up. And then there's damage that comes with it.
Yeah.
A good chaplain can be in the middle of DEIB really easily.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly.
But a lot of times we get labeled that there's no way we could possibly be that.
Yeah.
Right. But they just don't know.
Yeah. And I think that's a pastor thing too. I have tons of friends of other religions or non-religious for that matter that I talk to. We have respectful dialogue. We have great relationships.
Right.
But I think it's the kind of the stereotype, right? That a pastor is this or a chaplain is this. And that's just not
true.
Not true.
No, it's you must be banging a Bible over their head or whatever. Right. And because we've watched people try that. That's not who we are.
It doesn't work.
No, we meet people where they're at and we walk with them.
Yeah. And I think it's important to say that, the reason why I brought it up, to say that because when watching this podcast, we talk a lot about our faith. We talk a lot about God, about Jesus, and all those things. And we're going to, because that's the lens we see life through.
Yeah, it's just us.
Yeah, that's us. And we're going to be honest and open, and this is our life, and this is what
and
we'll
have guests on that aren't.
Right,
and
exactly.
They'll talk too.
Yeah.
But it's that whole thing, it's muddy boots, right? You're stuck in the mud. I'm going to walk out in the mud to get to you.
Yeah.
And I'll stand there in the mud until you're ready to start trudging.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
That's a hard thing to do.
It's a hard thing to do.
Well, Demi, anything you'd like to say in closing? Give you the floor, and then we'll close it up.
I feel very put on spotlight with that.
Well, you are you are technically in the spotlight, like actually literally.
Well, I know that there are quite a few people going through the chaplain training program, and some Christian and some not.
Yeah.
And it really is not an issue, and that is really, I'm trying to get through to all the staff, because that's what we want for people, is that kind of place where they are fully accepted and fully known just as they are. And we're not asking them to change. So, we have, people that are going through programs to get out of houselessness. We have teens, we have adults, we have seniors, we have people in the middle of figuring out what their identity is and how they would prefer to be. And we choose to love them as they are. That what are we really good at the Y? We are good at loving people. Right. And so it's taking what Roger has helped me with throughout my growth, where, when I said, I think I need a class on self-esteem. And he said, great, let's start small groups. Right. And, and
she goes, what?
Typical
and
Roger.
I said, okay. And he goes, great. You're going to be in there leading it.
But let's back up.
Right.
So this is the process for becoming a leader in a small group.
Yeah.
Is first you go through the class, then you come back and you go through as a TA to the facilitator of the class. Then you go through as the facilitator under instruction to the class. So what is that? 3 now?
Yeah.
3
You've gone
before
through
you lead your own.
Yeah,
and
you've
then
got
you
a
get
lot
to
of the
lead
material at that point.
Yeah, it's not like I go, oh, hey, go lead this. Right. Watch a 90-minute video, you're a chaplain.
Right.
Yeah, no,
So-
that's not how we roll.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
But
good.
this whole thing of, hey, Roger, I think I need this. Is this something the Y could do? And he goes, why not?
Yeah, there
Right.
you go.
And that was always it. Hey, Roger, I want to do this. He goes, sure, let's do it. And we'll figure out how along the way, and that is really how LiveStrong came about. Peace Health said, hey, we want to do this. And I said, yeah, let's do it. How do we do it? Well, we don't know that yet.
Let's figure it out together.
Yeah.
Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
So it really was, and now after the success of that, we have another group that's coming to us saying, hey, we would like to start a program for Parkinson's patients. And my answer, yeah, sure. Yeah, could we? Okay,
Why
great.
not?
So we've been working on that for about a year.
Cool.
But it's just one of those things like, hey, can we do this? Sure, why not?
Yeah.
And I appreciate that the YMCA is really like, hey, take away what we've always done and think differently. But
And combining these small groups
with,
when we talk like LiveStrong, but we also have low self-esteem, we have grief and loss, all this stuff that goes with anybody that's ever been involved with cancer,
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That we can then build on that. Parkinson's, same thing. We have all of these things that we can then, instead of compartmentalizing, right?
Yeah.
This is healthy
Sure.
living. This is
Yeah.
mental health.
Sure.
No, we're bringing them
Bringing
together
them all
in a very
together.
intentional way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very cool. And I really appreciate her for everything that the pile of goo that showed up in my door 7-8 years ago 9 years ago, whatever it was. Literally is, I love that video. If you've never seen the video on the YMCA, look at whatever the one Demi is.
The very first, like
No, it
that.
starts out with her, and then showing her discussing,
Yeah.
and then boom, and it shows,
Yeah.
and I use it because it's like you see the difference.
If
You
it's
can-
still there, I'll link
it's still
to it.
there. I
link to it.
read
Okay.
it. Yeah.
I'll do a little link.
But I will never forget because I was going through the process of training to be a facilitator of the self-esteem class because I was like, we're working on everyone's physical health. We need to be working on their self-esteem as well. And I need it.
Yeah.
Which it was hard to understand that coming out of, being in the spotlight all the time as a performer.
Sure.
Choreographer, like training people in dance and all this stuff and, really branding myself. But I spent so long doing that down in LA. I had no identity outside of that, I felt. Okay. So I really needed to work on my self-esteem, all of that. And then I said, as a coordinator for these groups, I really should go audit the grief and loss one.
Right.
Right? I'll go in as a participant for one session. I went through one meeting I ended up in his office going, I think I have grief. I was like, I'm grieving so many things. So,
All of it. All of it.
All the things, right?
so you know, and that one, and I went through several sessions of grief and loss after that, and I've never let it. But the reason that I went through it is then I implemented it into how I worked with people in their memberships.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially during COVID when everything was over the phone, no one was allowed in the building.
Right.
And so it helped me process some of that grief and loss of connection. And staff that I would never see again, and members that were just suddenly not there, and you know, just calling people or people calling to yell at me over their membership account, and I would say, "Hey, I can absolutely take care of that for you, but I do have another question." They're like, "What?" And I was like, "How are you doing? What has this been like for you? What's going on?" You know, and like just to sit and listen and be like, "Okay, well, while you've been talking and sharing those things, I've done everything you've asked on your membership account. I already took care of it while you were talking."
Yeah.
I said, "But thank you so much for sharing. Would you be okay if I called you again sometime just to check in?" They're like, "Oh, yeah, that's fine." And I did have, like, I felt very comfortable working here to be able to, during that time, say, like, "Are you okay if I pray with you? Or would you prefer that I pray for you after we get off the phone?" And, you know, I got both reactions,
sure.
you know, both answers. And I was like, absolutely. Well, just know that I'm with you. Like, I'm taking care of you, and like making sure that they knew that I cared about them more than their money. You know? And that's what the difference at the Y is.
Yeah.
You know, there are still times when we have to, you know, set boundaries.
Sure.
Healthy boundaries.
Healthy boundaries.
But
One of the funniest stories I remember was we had a member. So we're attached to a Vancouver Housing Authority place. So they've got anybody that lives over there gets a free membership to us. And Demi's over at the thing, and I've got my monkey office right next to it. And I'm watching her work with this member who is vehemently canceling his free membership.
He's done with that free membership.
He's done with that free membership. And Demi's just sitting there going, "Okay, all right, okay. It's canceled." And he goes, he's still here. I mean,
he does. He still goes.
He's
really?
still,
On the same free membership?
Yeah. I
That's
think
awesome.
it was something over masks or something. It was like 2020,
I think we've all
2021.
dealt with those
Yeah.
types of situations if we
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
any sort of frontline leadership.
We got through that time.
We did. Yeah. There's a lot of chair time in there, though.
Yes, there was.
Well,
All right.
Roger,
Yeah.
is there anything you'd like to say before I close us out?
I just think that the things that Demi's doing is amazing. And so if
agree.
you ever get a chance to come in and just talk to her. Email her, call her, I don't care. And
It's better if people come in.
I know it is.
I'm pretty much
She's
done.
like, "Don't have
my
them
phone
call me.
time.
Don't
My
have
phone
them call
time
me."
is
Yeah.
enough.
No, but I mean, she's doing stuff across the association now, and I think even outside with some of the. So it's really cool, and she's a prime example of what the Y can do if you allow it.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, that's great. And I'm grateful for you as a friend, as a person who works here, who I work with here at the Y.
Yeah.
And just really glad that you were able to do this today.
Yeah. Well, thanks
thank
for the
you.
invite, you guys.
Probably not the last time.
Probably not.
I do like microphones.
I mean, if you'd be down for that.
yes.
Yeah.
So,
And you can put the camera on her, not.
well, it's on
No.
us. I mean, technically, the camera's on us.
You'll still get
Roger.
it.
We're 6 episodes in. I think you'd be used to it by now.
You'd think. That's
So
what you get for thinking.
This has been the Muddy Boots podcast. We're so grateful that you're continuing to watch, even though Roger doesn't like being watched. But we appreciate that you're doing that anyway. We've got some new names that you can vote on in the comments. We're gonna have to wrap by season 1. I said it.
I know.
By the end of season 1, which we're only 2 episodes away. So by
Muddy
the end of
Toes.
episode 8 of season 1, we need to have the name nailed down and start season 2 with the name.
With sweatshirts.
Swag of some sort.
Swag.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
Who's going to pay for
Muddy
that?
socks. It was deep.
So right now, Muddy Buddies seems to be the front runner.
It's my number 1.
We want to vote. We want to vote from you as well.
Yeah.
So anyway, like, subscribe, make sure you hit the bell so you know this is coming. We're so grateful that you are continuing to watch, and we love you so much.
Thank
Have
you.
a great
you.
week.
Bye.